Hey boys and girls, Simon here. We've got a lot to talk about today, so let's just crack on. We're going to talk about evolution of war, geopolitical positioning. Russia is the bullied, not the bully. You're all going to kick off on that. No, Russia's just invaded Ukraine. How can you say that? We'll get onto it. And then markets. Now, we all need to be adults here, which unfortunately a lot of viewers on my YouTube channel are not adults. I see all sorts of silly comments. And the thing is, you have to always look at stuff from a completely first principles point of view, or like an alien observing humans. Just like if you were observing a colony of ants. You don't care who's right or wrong. You just observe, and data is data. And just because someone may have a completely different view to you doesn't mean that person's an idiot or they're the enemy, etc. It's just a data point amongst a sea of data points, or an ocean of data points. Now, before we go into the evolution of war bit, all I want to do is highly recommend you check out this video here, Macrometrics 21, yada yada yada, evolution of war, because war these days is not what you think it is. I'll put the link for this in the description somewhere, but this will really tell you how war is sort of orchestrated. But what I'll do very quickly is quickly talk about how war is done these days without weapons fired. So the US has done it primarily in South America. That's where the CIA have really honed in their skills. So what happens is you have some sort of tin pot country, some sort of dictator, and the US basically sends a whole bunch of analysts over to this country and then come up with a report. And they go to the dictator and say, hey, look, if you had hydroelectric dams, nuclear power, trains, highways, 5G, all that sort of stuff, your GDP is going to go through the roof. You're going to make loads, billions of dollars, or whatever that your currency is. Your family's going to love you. Sorry, your population is going to love you. Yada yada yada. Would you like it? The dictator will go, yeah, sure, but we don't have any money for it. Yeah, because the US will say, oh yeah, this is going to cost, I don't know, $500 billion, and it'll take 10 years to build. And they go, oh, I don't have the money. So they go, oh, it's fine. We've got the Federal Reserve. They've already pre-approved your loan, and they can loan you $500 billion plus whatever interest to get all this built. But there will be all sorts of clauses. So hell, we'll give you $1 billion as a golden handshake. This person says yes. So what happens is this $500 billion never enters the economy, ever. So what happens is that $500 billion simply enters the US, because all of the contractors that are going to build the trains and highways and bridges and stuff like that are US contractors. It could be Serco. It's just the whole military industrial complex. So Serco, Boeing, Bechtel, yeah, there's loads. And so what basically happens is this country, this country is now minus $500 billion in debt, but it's actually increased the US GDP by $500 billion. And so what they've done is they've turned this country into a debt slave. A single shot hasn't been fired, yet the country is basically a slave to the US now. And what always happens is that they get 10 years pass and go, oh shit, we've underestimated this, it's going to take another $100 billion in another few years. They obviously then take out another loan, and it's just constantly increasing them. And then what happens is this country eventually may default on its debts, etc., and then the US comes in and claims huge chunks of land, or owns the ports, or whatever. So that's how war is done these days. And some of these, clauses, if they default on their payments, etc., is, they start putting political puppets in. So US based things, you will vote whatever US votes on the next UN agreement or NATO agreement or whatever. Not NATO, UN typically. And yes, that's if they say yes. If the dictator says no, we don't want your help, well, guess what happens? This dictator suddenly gets killed. Someone else is then put in who then says yes. And then the whole thing repeats. So this has happened to dozens and dozens and dozens of countries. So check out Confessions of an Economic Hitman. This will blow your mind. So that's how it happens. So that's the evolution of war, and this is sort of a background to really what's going on at the moment in terms of geopolitical positioning. And so I always look at data, right? And so when if like the average Joe, let's say you're based in the UK, most people are just completely ignorant when it comes to stuff like this, and they will simply listen to the BBC and form all of their opinions based on the BBC. Bear in mind, the BBC is state-funded and state-run propaganda, because literally it is the government funded. So obviously, on one side of the scale, you're seeing UK or Western propaganda over here with the if you're simply drinking from the fire hydrant of the BBC or Fox News or whatever, and then on the far right hand side you've got Russia Today or whatever Russian news sources, and then somewhere around here in the middle you could probably have Al Jazeera or whatever. So unfortunately the masses simply just drink from one news source and form all of their opinions on that. And that is like the worst thing you could do. And this is why a lot of people lose money in the markets, because they're basing their opinions from one side of the spectrum. You need to look at everything. So I listen to what we're saying over here in the West, and I also tune into what Al Jazeera is saying, what Russia Today is saying, and other non-affiliated experts or whatever. And you'll get a far better picture of what's going on. And so obviously the West are now making out Russia to be demons and Putin some sort of evil dictator. I'm probably going to be called a commie or whatever. Obviously I'm not saying he's a good or bad person, I'm just saying what I'm seeing. And what I'm seeing is that you basically, with the Cold War, you had the Soviet Union, right, which was freaking huge. You had UK over here, you had the US over here, obviously I can't draw. And then there were all sorts of accords and whatnot to break down the Soviet Union. And in the end, it broke up into something like 24 different things. Belarus, Poland, Russia, Ukraine, all that sort of stuff. And so now you just have the Russian, Russia, let's just say over here. And what's happened, and part of the agreement is that NATO was not to start encroaching this way. But NATO has completely ignored that over the last 30 years. And what's happened is that country by country is being sort of gobbled up by NATO, like like bacteria gobbling up another cell. And what happens every time NATO gobbles up another Western Bloc country and gives, promises it, support, protection, military equipment, lots of loans from the Federal Reserve or the ECB or whatever. Guess what happens? You then have US military installations, like just take Poland. You have US nuclear missiles in Poland. You have US nuclear missiles and military installations basically all across Eastern Europe at the moment. And so what's happened, what Putin has said and Russia in general have said for years now is like, look, NATO is continually putting weapons on their doorstep. And they're moving moving east. And now the final sort of, jigsaw puzzle is the Ukraine, the second largest country in Europe. And so, NATO obviously, is trying to gobble them up. Obviously, we have no idea who's a puppet politician. All politicians are puppets. You just got to try and figure out who is their funder or which side they're leaning on. But, the current administration wants to join NATO, etc. But guess what will happen? You'll then have NATO or US-based, US military and missile installations right on the Russians' doorstep. And it's not just Europe that they're that's creeping on them. You have US, in the Middle East already. You have factions in Asia. You have Taiwan over here, and then you got a lot of stuff over the North Pole. So the way that Russia's looking at it is that they feel they are completely surrounded by the US and NATO, and all they're trying to do is they just don't want their biggest neighbor. And there's a lot of resources and pipelines and stuff over here. Obviously it's a resource thing at the same time, but they just don't want weapons in here. So their goal is simply to demilitarize this. And as I said in my video yesterday, what do you think the US would do if Russia suddenly tried to put missiles in Mexico? I can't draw. Let's say, Mexico is over here. What would happen? The US would lose its shit. And guess what the US did in, Cuba in 1962? The US lost its shit when Russia sent missiles to Cuba. This is no different. Or it's like, if US was invading the UK and all of a sudden tried to overtake Wales and put missiles in Wales. Silly example. But so I see things from both sides. Obviously, I see, there's aggression heading from Russia over here and it's being sort of demonized. But I also see the other side of the coin, that literally the US are completely surrounding Russia and they just really don't want missiles in Ukraine. So that's, I guess, the geopolitical posturing. It's going to get messy, and as I said, it's going to be a bit of a proxy war. So US obviously has sent billions of dollars of weaponry into the Ukraine. I've got a sneaky suspicion that a lot of that weaponry won't be deployed, and it'll actually end up in Russian arms, because I can't see Ukraine putting up much of a fight here. And I've already seen reports of lots of surrendering. So a lot of that weaponry can actually end up in Russian hands. So that's the whole sort of geopolitical shizzle. Where have we gone? And I'm trying, So, and it's a bit like at school. I remember once I was bullied at school for quite a period, for over a good year. I was bullied and bullied and bullied and bullied, and then one day, this guy was right up in my grill, and I lashed out. It was just after a year of complete bullying and just being walked all over, always in my personal space, and then I lashed out and close knocked the idiot out. And then guess what? I was in trouble. I was the one that was the bully that had punched this idiot in the face, had bruises and all that sort of stuff, and I got in trouble for, and it was called an unprovoked attack. But what the teachers and that completely ignored was that they didn't see the years worth of absolute bullying, even though I was the one that was massively told off and had to apologize, all that sort of stuff. And so, oh God, a lot of you think I'm going to be some sort of communist spy here. I'm not. But yeah, I'm just seeing things from the other side of the coin. That is all. And generally, I don't believe a single thing that comes out of Biden's mouth. So now, markets. What is going to happen? So what I said yesterday, I released a little video. So when was this? On February 23rd. So this was before it all broke out. And that video, me walking in the woods with Pips, is the video I just posted today. Remember, I like to give my members, my community, the alpha, the edge on stuff. So that video is what I put out today, as I said. And as I said, all economic theories and trading strategies go out of the window the moment shots start getting fired. And shots are being fired. Oh my God, how many browsers do I have open right now? Shots being fired. And I just have to say, I'm very impressed with Disclose.tv. I'm not affiliated to them anyway. I just quite like it how, I'm seeing some stuff on here you're not seeing on the news. Obviously, we're now seeing, stuff like this, cruise missiles coming in. But yeah, it's pretty good stuff, actually. So whoever runs this or whoever, contributes to this, keep it up. So what was I going to say? Markets, yeah. Concentrate, kid. It's been a long day. What was I saying? Yeah. So at the moment now we're in sort of hot war territory. The VIX is going to be basically running the show. So the volatility index, and look what happened. It gapped up massively, and therefore everything shat its pants. Stocks, everything crumbled. Look at the FTSE. I mean, I've been calling this. I mean, this. Just look at this. So this is the FTSE. Whoopsie. Now, obviously I have to be very careful what I say, because the FTSE is a highly regulated asset, and here we go. And what I said here, this was back in 18th of February. One thing that works a treat for me over the years is spotting the initial or one of the early mini patterns that then make up the next bigger pattern, and so on. This sometimes gives you an almost mystic meg forecast that comes true, sometimes. And if you trade it right, it can lead to a windfall. And if you're wrong, you just exit the trade, take a hit and move on. This is a forbidden chart, but I think this is the first mini signal that then creates a bigger one. The mini head and shoulders looks like it will imminently play out. Stonking high test there. I'll show you the chart in a minute. That head and shoulders should play out to 7,300, which will then form a bigger double top formation, which could then be the start of the first big move down for this asset. Therefore, I am now of the mind that there is a very high probability of a crash. Again, this is 18th of February, folks. Technical analysis can sometimes be freakily accurate in forecasting real-world events, or the real-world events are created to mask the markets. Sounds conspiratorial, I know, but either way, I'm firmly sitting on my hands for now. Now, this is the chart that I showed. As I said, forbidden chart, but you can look at the prices. So, head and shoulders playing out down to about 7,300 will then create a bigger double top. And that double top, if that played out, would then see prices drop to around 7,000. Well, boys and girls, that chart, that forbidden chart over here, was the FTSE. So if you look at this, head and shoulders, it played out. You then had that stonking high test, which I just mentioned. That then played out down here. We now have the double top, and look what happened. We're now having prices heading rapidly towards that 7,000 level. So technical analysis does work sometimes, but yeah. So there's a few other bits and bobs. Oh yeah, and ages ago I said that we should have Ohm hitting $50. Yeah, so I had two things that we hit that hole, that got filled, and the next hole was $50. And again, that was on the 19th of February. And Ohm, there we go. We got filled beautifully. So yeah, it's good to stay in cash. Hopefully, you're all in cash and you've been watching what I've been saying, or even if you know how to trade. I mean, it's been beautiful trading. Like, I was shorting the Dow Jones, made a cheeky 13k profit today. Anyway, hope that makes. Oh, sorry, markets. Haven't even talked about markets. It's been a long day. I'm absolutely knackered. So, the long story short, and it's a very quick answer, is we don't know what the low will be. The one concern I have, which I think is actually, it's not really much of a concern because I don't think it will happen anymore, is that we could have a little bit of fighting and then everything pauses whilst they go back to the tables, but as in the talking tables, but I don't think that's going to happen at the moment. Russia will want full demilitarization of Ukraine, and the US won't allow that. So yeah, I see shit getting real, and therefore Bitcoin will continue falling as per the markets. And one thing I've always mentioned is that the dollar, as I said, when you have a rising dollar, everything else goes down. In terms if anything is priced in the dollar. So we've now had this lovely bounce of this level, and as you can see over here, if we scroll down, where's that dollar gone? Here we go. Bouncy bounce bounce. You know what this means. As I said, and I was saying that the dollar we should have further rising and boomtown. So yeah, so that trade I'm actually out now. I closed it, so I'm actually out of this trade. If we look over, where's the Dow? Again, I cannot give you buy or sell recommendations, so I'm gonna have to be very, very quiet now. But yeah, just close that for a cheeky 1,000 points. But yeah, I'm looking for a bit of a pullback. Things don't go in straight lines. You always, even in the heart of panic, you'll always get pullbacks because that's what the market does. So yeah, got no cryptos, got out of all trades, waiting for a re-entry. But I don't think I'll be buying crypto for a while. Now I know a lot of people are wanting to fade the market, thinking, hey, surely this is now when you buy. As I said, Bitcoin's now hit that 34 to 36k hole, which I drew the other day. But I'm still, what's going on here is just a textbook Kobo. We have base support, busted through it, Koboing off. And so, yeah, I see further falling. Like with Bitcoin, I'm seeing at least something like that. Something like that. But don't forget, we haven't had a bit of a pullback, so I wouldn't be surprised if we had that's a horrible drawing. I wouldn't be surprised if we had a bit of a pullback. So if we do something like this, sorry, I can't draw for shit today. Yeah, I wouldn't, although I see further falling, let's move this on a bit. I would not be at all surprised if we saw movement off here and the movement down here. But yeah, and obviously as Bitcoin keeps on falling, oh yeah, and by the way, what will that then happen? If that happens, it creates another sort of double top, which should then play it out, and we'll probably see a little spike down to about 28. But yeah, that's my thoughts. So again, it's going to be absolutely glorious getting into some of these cryptos at such a bargain, but not right now. There's a lot more falling about to happen. Let's quickly look at Ether. Yeah, I mean, we've got all. Yeah, I don't really want to. Yeah, my phantom levels being hit, or just yeah, it's hit that level. No, I'm gonna be quiet. One last thing. Okay, so where is it? I'm just gonna pause the video whilst I find the page. Aha, here we go. So two last things. I just wanted to reply to some of the comments I saw in this video, and then one last bit thing. Is there anything else for review? Cool. Yeah. By the way, because I get lots of crap, I never delete comments. I approve them all as long as you're not swearing or being racist or whatever. Yeah. So there we go. Yeah. Cool. Hidden comments show. Yeah. Okay. I'll approve that. Anyway. Yeah. So comments on this one. You can't be sitting in fiat rather than stable, surely. Sorry. Yes, I'm sat in stables. Apologies. I'm sat in USDC, BUSD, and DAI. Locked. Yep, good. Glad a lot of you have sidestepped the. Yeah, irresponsible. Call it a proxy war. Yeah, hopefully. To be honest, I don't care if you disagree or not. I've made a lot of money over the years from trading because of the way I think. And I'm nearly, my track record speaks for itself. So, good luck with how you think. I exited all of my Wonderland. I haven't got any crypto. Sat in cash with this narrative. I would be short. Yeah, I am shorting. I'm trading it down as well. So this is the one. Won't be holding cash. Also, will be useless now that oil, gold, and other commodities are increasing in value, and so there'll be even more inflation. Good time to buy gold? No, I don't like buying gold. You got no yield from it, and especially the physical stuff. There's no secondary market. You get absolutely negatively slipped, and like I'm only in cash or stables for a short period of time, like maybe a couple of months. I'm not going to be sat in it forever. So I don't really need to worry too much about the whole inflation sort of shizzle. But yeah, anyway, last thing, this is getting on a really long video at the moment. The cuddle. So every 2 months, my community has what we call a cuddle. It doesn't actually stand for anything. Originally, it was like a bit of a cuddle because everyone's losing in crypto generally. But yeah, sort of stuck. So what happens is it's a full day of awesomeness. So during the daytime, so from like 10 a.m. till sort of 6 p.m. is all learning. So I'll be talking, doing loads of teaching type stuff. We'll have some guest speakers. My business partner, who's an awesome crypto accountant, he'll be coming and talking about crypto tax, offshore structuring, all that sort of shizzle. And then lots and lots of fun. So yeah, I'll just go through this really. So yeah, and so the ticket, so it's free for members, but we then open up to the public. So you get seats for the full day. Oh, there's no selling, by the way. Zero selling. None of that American motivational bullshit. Like, everyone stand up and clap your hands and rub your person to the right shoulders and give everyone a high five, or, you know, say aye if you agree with me. All that bullshit. None of that bollocks. Just no padding. Hopefully you've seen with my YouTube stuff so far, I hate padding. Just want to get the stuff out there. So seats for the full day, guest speakers, tea, coffees, refreshments throughout the day. So hot lunch, hot dinner. And then from sort of 7 onwards, we have an epic party. I think we're spending about 20 grand just on the party bit. So we'll have all sorts of like sumo suits. We've got a surf simulator. We have DJs. We've got a few other bits and bobs. And all of that is just 250 quid. Literally, we're not making a profit with this event at all. The whole event, I think, is going to be like 30 something K, and we just need to cover costs, really. So yeah, to come as a random member of the public, it's just 250 quid, and that's basically from 10 a.m. till midnight of partying. It's in Nottingham on the 12th of March. I would definitely not miss out on this. So yeah. Anyway, that link is this one here, and I will chat soon. Hope this has helped. If you disagree, great. Good luck with your trading. If you agree, great. Good luck with your trading. Yeah, see you soon. Toodles.